In this video, learn how to use this effective technical indicator, the 9 EMA, to exit profitable trades. Hi, I'm Mike Bellafiore, co-founder of S&B Capital, and we're a proprietary trading firm located in Midtown Manhattan. And I'm also the author of the trading classic, One Good Trade, and the Playbook. In this video, I share with a junior trader on our desk how he could have taken better profits on a winning trade using the 9 EMA. Let's get to work on sharing these important trading lessons so you can grow your trading account.
This is a opening drive reversal trade in DKNG. I've really been focusing in on my opening drives, but then the new trade that I'm really trying to develop and add to my playbook is these opening drive continuations, whether that is to the same side or a potential reversal, as that's often the next major opportunity in the morning for me. So trade strategy, you just want to see a major move to either side off the open from that opening drive with elevated R vol. Clear pre-market ranges to trade off of for the opening drive that were also respected during the opening drive, make these continuations a lot clearer. And then it really has to have fast tape when it's starting to reverse and break back the other direction. So if we see like a rejection of a level with really high volume and then holding under that level, that's a really good entry signal, or potentially a held bid being decremented.
Matt, I'm curious, any thoughts on percentage gap up that might become a variable?
I do often look at the percentage gap up in terms of maybe how extended the opening drive could be to either side. Often, as long as it's over personally like a 5% gap, 10% gap, I think that's enough that you can really expect some extra movement or players in the stock. So the reason I was interested in trading DraftKings on this day was they announced they were going to have a public offering of 32 million shares, 16 being offered 60 million by DraftKings, and then 60 million being offered by stockholders of the company. So one thing I want to mention is Penn, which is in a very similar market space to DraftKings. When they had their news of an offering price, it traded down directly to that offering price level. However, for DraftKings at this time of the trade, the offering price was not released, but I'm expecting maybe a little bit more of a negative reaction as it does trade down off this news initially as well. So, like we said, that 2 times R vol is a really nice elevation level. $4 ATR on a like $60 stock, $50 stock's pretty significant. And smaller short float and institutional ownership, but there's still been a lot of eyes on this name really trading DraftKings daily. So you can see on the long-term technicals here how DraftKings had really been consolidating over the past couple months, and then this past month or two we've just had a strong drive with all the COVID news, the news of them partnering with different teams, and things of that nature. So this is just a little more zoomed in of the technicals. You can see I had a push up the day before over 60, tried to hold above there into the close. In the pre-market the prior day, got taken out, and then we tested it again in the pre-market the day before. So this 60 level is a really big line in the sand over the past couple days, which is a great trading level.
Matt, how do you feel about it coming back to previous support as opposed to maybe not trading much below that 62 area?
I think that shows me that this support might be a little weaker than initially anticipated, because I would expect if that support's really going to hold the stock, buyers are going to come in there and probably not really retest that level or not retest under it. So that would, I think, make me a little more convinced of the short. So just zooming in more of the pre-market technicals, that 60 level on multiple time frames, but then more realistically, there's this nice pre-market inflection level of $61. You can see we're kind of trading above and below it a lot off the open, and with this like 61.80 being a minor level. So like I said, this is an opening drive reversal, so you can see we had this opening drive through an important level, pulls back down, tries to continue, fails, holds lower in the range, and then really breaks down and trends for the day. So I'm actually going to go over the trade management before I show the tape video, just to show you what the trade's looking like so you know what to expect in the tape. So for my trade, it was more of a momentum entry when we saw it holding below this 6180, clearly tried to retest here, rejected, held lower in the range, and then it was just slowly stepping down.
If you want to learn 3 real-world setups that our traders use, including the simple setup that we teach all of our new traders and the setup that turned one of our traders into a 7-figure big money earner, check out the free webinar that we're currently running. Just go ahead and click the link that should be appearing right now at the top right-hand corner of your screen. That's going to open up this free registration page in the new window, so don't worry, you're not going to lose this video. You're going to learn more in a couple of hours from this trading workshop than from years of online education.
And then just really for me scaling out into the $60 level where we've seen many buyers over the past couple days with this extended volume candle signaling maybe a potential exhaustion move to the downside and a good place to take final profits.
Matt, and the purple line denotes what?
The 9 exponential moving average. So that's often something on opening drives and trending trades I like to use as a trailing stop once I'm down to maybe under half my position. I've noticed for the time frame I trade on that the 9 EMA being reclaimed often signals the type of trade I was looking for maybe ending, or there's just going to be some more consolidation and chop area coming up. Such as an indicator I like to use outside of VWAP to just really see how extended we are from the 9 EMA, because as you can see, when we really got extended here, that's also signaled some exhaustion, and then we pulled back up and had to like retest the 9 EMA. So I think as I've been trading these opening drives more, I've been realizing the importance of also recognizing some of these moving averages and how traders may be looking at those to define their risk better.
Held pretty nicely below there for that opening drive.
Yes, yeah, very nicely. Only one real retest. So I'm bringing up my chart here. I didn't quite have it on my main chart right away because I was trading it up here initially. Because I had a Roku trade that was going on before, but I was watching DKNG up here the whole time. I had entered, like I said, when this 61.25 broke at 61.17. Kind of expecting a flush into that 61 level. I haven't covered any. I'm kind of thinking, okay, if I'm right here and this is really going to be a reversal, there's no reason for me to cover into the bottom of the range because I'm expecting this range to really break down and sellers really to get involved, and all those people that were buying off the morning are stopping out. So I have some orders out to get hit into the 60-50 level, like 60-45, 65-25. Just knowing there was some real buying there in the pre-market from watching this $61 inflection. Whenever we'd test under it, these 61.50s would really start to hold. So this isn't the fastest moving tape as it is a reversal trade, so it takes a little longer. So I'm just kind of showing you here how the bids are constantly stepping down. Want to see it really hold under this $61 inflection, in my opinion, if this is going to continue weakness. So watching here, if it reclaims 61, probably going to hit out like half my shares. Using like that, like I said, that 9 EMA, which is over 61 as well. You can see it just rejects. And then we finally break into the bottom of this range where I take off a little risk. It took off a fourth of my shares. Just because it should have really flushed better there, in my opinion. It is showing weakness, but after a clear rejection holding under 61, I was really expecting a bigger breakdown there. So when we make the low and quickly rebid, that was a good reason for me to take off a little bit of risk, just take my first profits on the trade. And then this is a pretty big point in the trade. We see these 60-65s trying to hold. We see some large bids there. Something, if these get decremented, I'm definitely back in the driver's seat on this trade, a little more comfortable to hold for that bigger picture move into $60 at least. So you can see here, I'm thinking, okay, these 65 cents, they're really trying to hold up this bid. Like, if they give out, this should really wash, in my opinion, as they keep bouncing it like 10 cents off this area, but can't really hold higher. I'll skip ahead a bit. So 65's still a major area, but then once they give out, we start to get that continued downside momentum I'm looking for. And I'm layered out to get down to half of my shares into $60. And you can just see it really just keeps trending nicely. Like now I'm thinking, okay, just keep layering out orders, trailing stop at the 9 EMA, clear rejection at the highs of the morning, held under this range, got under the inflection I was trading around, held under that inflection, held lower, and then decent selling volume coming in on the most two recent selling candles. So these are all checks that letting me hold this a little bit more for the move down to $60. And right about here, I'll show the move into 60. I fully cover on the flush below $60 because at that point we've made like 2/3 ATR move. It's pretty extended. I'm really expecting, like I said, buyers at that $60, not just from the 1 minute, but from multiple time frames over the past couple days. That's been an area of interest. So I'm thinking if we get a flush under $60, there's an easy chance it gets at least rebid and test back over 60 before we see a continued extended move. So like I said, I have my last order at 59.85 to see if I can get covered there if these 60s give out. Like I said, it's kind of stalling below this level, which I was expecting a bit, and that's why I have that order to try and take out my last shares, because there's this 60 level is definitely a level of interest, and there is more continued downside. But in the short term, this $60 does reclaim and start to bounce, and that was my exit signal initially. And
yeah, I would think about bidding at 86 cents instead of 85 cents. It's easier to get filled. I would bid 86 cents, 81 cents, 76 cents, 71 cents. I don't want to be bidding at 85 cents, 80 cents, 75 cents, 70 cents. I want, particularly if I think it's going to be another move. That's good. And so two things you did really well there. One, I like how you caught where there was a lot of volume being done and where the stock couldn't get below a certain price. And we're thinking, hey, if it gets below that price, then it should really drop. That's excellent observation from reading the tape. That's an excellent job of using the tape to help you make better decisions. So I encourage you to keep looking for areas like that where there's just too much volume. It's a little bit weird. Like why do they keep doing the volume at the same price? Because if it does get below that price, that can cause the stock to crater, or if it just keeps holding up, you can make a good trade on the long side against that particular price. So we're looking for those stubborn areas where we can't drop. I would ask you to think about whether or not you can add to your risk when we get below that 66 cents, maybe as a momentum trade, maybe as a scalp trade. You're doing all of the work. You're watching that very nicely. Think about how you can make a little bit more money. That strikes me as pretty easy money.
Agreed. Yeah, there's some clear add areas in there.
And I would just say one thing about this. You did a nice job with the 9-minute EMA. I think that's what you're using. Did we get that right?
That is exactly what I'm using. That's this like pink purplish line. And you can see on this breakdown, it was clearly holding it. It got an extended move from that 9 EMA on a high volume, which you need to really notice in real time. You can't really use volume as a lagging indicator as much for these shorter time frame trades. And then once we reclaimed this 9 EMA,
yeah, Matt, but if I could just jump in here, I'd like for you to be thinking about, you were sort of taking profits as the stock was coming in, and that's fine to be thinking that way. I wonder if, since you're using the 9-minute EMA, another way to be thinking about using that is to save some of your covers for when it gets too extended from the 9-minute EMA, and for you to be thinking about defining what that looks like for your trading. So, hey, I'm using this indicator and it's helping me determine when the momentum is out of the stock, but it also, as you said rightly, can help you to decide when to take some risk off. If it's close to the 9-minute EMA, close to the 9-minute, and the 9-minute EMA can be swapped out for another indicator. It can be swapped out for VWAP, it could be swapped out for lots of other indicators that people use. But it can be used for Bollinger Bands, have at it.
Definitely.
But certainly, if you notice hugging of a technical resistance area, a technical resistance indicator, let's call it that, a technical resistance indicator, because that's really what it is. It's technical resistance. It's a short-term technical resistance area. And if you notice a pattern that diverges, it's hugging the technical resistance area, and wow, it's really far away from that. That strikes me as a risk-off moment. That strikes me as a reason to cover some, maybe not all. That strikes me as a trade decision when it's too far away, because that indicator is giving you pretty good information. So instead of just taking, another way to take profits is it's just too far away from the moving average. Let me cover some. Let me put some back on as it pulls into the technical resistance area, the technical resistance indicator. Something to think about.
Yeah, that makes sense, and I appreciate that feedback, because there definitely is more ways for me to utilize that 9 EMA, as I was purely thinking about it as a stop in the momentum, and not as much thinking about the other ways you can use that.
No, you did actually
level.
say it. You actually said it.
I did, yeah, that's true.
But I don't think you yet, I think you actually had the idea in your head, but I don't think you actually have implemented it into your trading systematically yet.
Yeah, I don't have that clearly written out like I do my other variables, so I think that'll definitely be the next thing for me to develop in terms of using that 9 EMA, the real rules for what an extension from it is and things of that nature.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, good.
Heading back here, we can see what the chart kind of looked like on the day, and if you were continue trading this, you could even watch this 60 level as it held under it again, and really still had more downside. But as for me, in the time frame I like to trade on, like I said, that 9 EMA gives me a good indicator. This is just what it looked like in terms of executions on Trader View. You can see that breakdown from the consolidation over the opening range. So what's improved? This is something you've talked about a couple times now, Mike, and it's been in my head about how to get into a stock and start out by bidding a little bit for price and then saving the rest of your risk for when you really see it. So in my opinion, I could have started in with like 20-30% of my position in these 6140s when I really saw it stalling, bid for some price, and then add on the 6120 breakdown.
Matt, you mean offer for some price?
Yes, sorry. Oh, man. Yeah. So that's something that I think I could really improve on, is getting that better average price from offering out at better prices.
Hey, go ahead and click our subscribe button so you don't miss any of the videos that we're producing for you in the trading community. And please take the time to add your feedback in the comment section for what videos you'd like for us to produce next and what you found helpful from this video. From all of us at S&B, train and trade well.